Listen carefully, because from this moment on, your tongue is no longer free. It is a weapon, and like any weapon, if used recklessly, it turns on its master. The modern world worships noise. People spit words like loose change. They talk to be heard. They talk to feel relevant. But relevance is an illusion. Power is silent. You are not here to be relatable. You are here to be untouchable. You are not here to win approval. You are here to master perception. Understand this. Every time you open your mouth, you gamble. And in a game ruled by predators, every gamble has a price. Machiavelli said, "Whoever wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." Command begins with control, and control begins with silence. There are 7 situations where you must become a Volt, where silence isn't passive, it's a dominant strategy. Speak in these moments, and you expose your hand. You become predictable, weak, and worst of all, forgettable. We'll break all 7 down, but first, you need to adopt the most dangerous mindset on earth. Cold, calculated patience. This is where your rise begins. Silence is your camouflage. It hides your motives. It protects your weaknesses. It amplifies your mystique. The strong man walks into a room and says nothing, but his presence, deafening. He scans, he observes, he dissects, and when he finally speaks, every eye obeys. You want to be that man, so here's your first law of untouchability. In chaos, say nothing. Let them show their cards. Let your silence be a mirror. When tension rises, shut up. When rumors swirl, shut up. When emotion peaks, shut up. They expect you to react, to defend, to explain. Don't. The moment you feel a fire rise in your chest, know this: they've found your trigger, and if they can pull it once, they can pull it forever. Control that reaction and you've just beaten them without raising a finger. This is the beginning of your transformation, from talker to tactician, from chatter to chess master. You're no longer here to participate in noise. You're here to command presence in silence. And I want to test your mindset. Right now, comment below, "My silence is lethal." Let me see who's ready to become a shadow king. Let me tell you the fastest way to lose power. Speak while you're burning. When anger grabs your throat, when jealousy clouds your vision, when pain coils in your gut like a serpent and you still open your mouth, that's when you hand your enemies the blueprint to destroy you. Never speak in emotional heat. Write this into your spine. Emotion is the leash, silence is the blade. Every time you react impulsively, you show them what controls you, and the man who can be controlled is already conquered. Let's get one thing clear: I don't care how intelligent you are. If you can't control your mouth under emotional fire, you'll never hold real power. Because power doesn't live in your feelings, it lives in your restraint. You get angry, you want to clap back, you want to prove a point, you want to hurt them with words. But you don't realize they've already won. They've baited you, they've pulled your trigger, and now you're bleeding control. And once you bleed, the predators come. Here's how the elite operate. They feel everything, but show nothing. You insult them, they stare. You betray them, they observe. You scream at them, they calculate. You think you're getting to them, but they're already 3 moves ahead, playing a longer game you can't even see. That's how you must move from now on. Let's break it down cold and clear. Anger? Say nothing. Use it to sharpen your strategy. Jealousy? Say nothing. Use it to become untouchable. They expect you to burst. You disappear. They expect a war, you go dark. That silence, it haunts them. Because they don't know what's coming. This is psychological warfare. And in warfare, the calmest man wins. The one who can sit in his own chaos and still make others feel unsafe. Don't post, don't rant, don't explain. Let the silence speak for you. And trust me, it screams louder than rage ever could. Let me leave you with something most men will never hear. Power is earned not through domination, but through total inner command. When you feel the fire rising, don't suppress it, don't shame it. Use it, but don't let it leak through your mouth. Let it fuel the empire you're building in silence. Now I want to know who's listening like a future king. Comment this below. I bleed silence, I burn cold. Let me see who's ready for war. You feel it, don't you? The extra stares, the unexpected attention, the slow rotation of heads when you walk in. You're being watched. Maybe you just won. Maybe you just moved different. Maybe you just stopped explaining yourself, and now they're curious. But listen to me, and listen carefully. When the eyes multiply, your words must vanish. Because every time you're being watched more than usual, you're no longer operating in reality. You're on stage. And when you're on stage, every word becomes a weapon, but not in your hands, in theirs. This is where average men fail. They feel seen, so they perform. They try to sound intelligent, they explain too much, they crack jokes, they try to belong, and in doing so, they bleed value in every direction. Because attention is not a compliment, it's a trap. When you're being watched, people aren't admiring you. They're measuring you, studying you, calculating you, and if you speak too soon, they'll find your depth. Or worse, they'll find the lack of it. You don't respond to attention with noise. You respond with presence, stillness, observation, minimal movements, maximum mystery. Let them wonder why you're quiet. Let them wonder what you're thinking. Let them whisper, what's he planning? Because that unknown, that's power. Here's the play. When you sense more eyes than usual, say less. Move slower. Do only what's necessary. You don't make jokes. You don't reveal strategy. You don't explain your silence. You just become a mirror. Let them project their own fears, insecurities, and curiosity onto your stillness. Let them imagine you're 10 moves ahead, even if you're just watching. Machiavelli knew this deeply. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. And the first seed of fear is unpredictability. You being quiet when you're being watched is a declaration. You don't own access to me. You don't get to measure me. I move when I decide. That makes people uncomfortable. And when people are uncomfortable around you, they respect you more. Let me break this even sharper. When you speak while watched, you feed the crowd. When you stay silent, you starve them. And when they're starving for your energy, you control their psychology. It's not arrogance, it's architecture. You're building a reputation of strategic restraint. Here's your new rule. If more people than usual are watching, I reduce access. If attention spikes, I lower exposure. If they want a reaction, I give them stillness. This is shadow psychology, not for the average man, for the dangerous. Now speak to me without noise. Comment this below. I disappear inside the spotlight. Let me see who thrives under pressure by vanishing within it. Congratulations, you won, you pulled it off. The room is clapping, the messages are flooding in, the eyes are all on you. And that's exactly the problem. You think the spotlight is your throne. It's not, it's a snare. Right now, you're most visible. Right now, they're watching every word, every move, waiting for you to get drunk on your own success. And most men do. They gloat, they post, they celebrate loudly. And in that celebration, they expose their next move. They reveal their pride. They show they need the applause. That's when the wolves mark them. That's when the rivals start plotting. That's when power starts leaking from their mouths. You want to be different? You want to play at the top? Then when you win, you go quiet. No speeches, no boasting, no I told you so. Just a nod, a smile, and silence. Let them cheer, let them guess. Let them wonder what you're thinking, because when the victor stays silent, the world fills in the gaps with fear and respect. Machiavelli would have smiled at this strategy. He said, men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. Translation, they believe what they see you do, not what you say you did. And when they see you succeed, but you don't need to say a word, they start imagining that you know more than you actually do. That's power. Perception dominance. Let me make this colder. When you talk after a win, you signal that the win is rare. You prove that it surprised you, that you needed it, that you needed them to validate it. But when you act like it's expected, when you treat it like it's just another step in your march, you create the illusion that this is just your normal, and that illusion is lethal. Let the others clap for themselves. Let them post their shiny trophies. Let them feed on likes. You disappear. You let the result echo. Let your enemies chew on your silence like broken glass. And while they're distracted trying to decode you, you're already working on your next move. That's how Shadow Kings stay in control. Here's a tactic most will never understand. When they expect a speech, deliver a silence. When they expect a celebration, disappear. When they want access, stay myth. Because in a world where everyone is addicted to applause, the man who doesn't need it is unstoppable. You want to be dangerous? Let me test your mindset. Comment this right now. My silence echoes louder than applause. They're coming for you. The whispers, the stares, the subtle framing, the little smirks that say, "We know what you did." But here's the truth. They have no proof, only noise, only suspicion, only fingers desperate to point at someone to feel powerful. And you open your mouth to defend yourself? You just confirmed their story. Let me burn this into your brain. The moment you defend yourself without being convicted, you surrender your status, because silence is not weakness. It is the coldest form of dominance. When they accuse you and you say nothing, they don't know if you're innocent, guilty, or just too dangerous to question again. And that confusion, that mystery, it is fear in disguise. The moment you defend, you validate. You say, "This matters to me." You say, "Your opinion affects me." You say, "Please believe me." Weak men beg for belief. Powerful men, they walk through fire without explaining a thing. Because they know, truth doesn't need a microphone. You need to understand how the game of shadows works. When they accuse you with no evidence, they're not looking for the truth. They're looking for a reaction. And every word you speak is a gift to them. A tone shift, a cracked expression, a rushed explanation. They'll tear it apart. So instead, you shut the hell up, let them talk, let them circle like vultures. You just sit, you observe, you collect names, you log behaviors, and you wait. Because the man who lets his silence stretch starts to feel like a ticking bomb. Let me give you a razor blade rule. If they have no proof, you owe them no response. Not even a look, not even a text, not even a half smile. Because that's silence. It becomes psychological torture. They'll replay every moment in their head. Why didn't he deny it? Why didn't he flinch? Does he know something I don't? You just planted fear without lifting a finger. You want to make them afraid to ever speak your name again? Then do this. Vanish from the narrative. Let them choke on their own theory. Let them argue with shadows. And while they talk, you build, you rise, you sharpen. Because one day, when you move again, it won't be with words. It'll be with a result so undeniable, they'll wish they stayed quiet the first time. Most men fold here. They beg to be liked. They try to clear things up. That's not you anymore, from this point forward. You don't chase clarity, you command presence. Now comment this below if you felt this one in your bloodstream. No proof, no response. My silence is punishment. Let me see who's graduating from mortal to myth. Watch closely. They're performing. New clothes, bragging tone, exaggerated stories. Eye contact just a little too long. They're trying to impress you, to gain position, to extract validation. And if you speak now, if you laugh too hard, nod too quickly, feed them words. You just gave them power. You just told them they won you. You just became the audience. And the audience is never in control. You want to flip the dynamic? You want to become the man who warps the room without a sound? Then you stay still. You stay quiet. You let them perform. Because when someone tries to impress you, they are revealing their hunger, and hunger is weakness. Let me give you the deeper psychology. Anyone who needs your attention can be made to chase it. This is leverage. This is social gravity. Most people have never had someone not react to their performance, so when you're that man, it short-circuits them. They lean in, they overshare, they try harder. And you observe. You keep your power inside your silence. This is cold dominance, and it's addictive once you taste it, because you'll start to notice. They laugh harder when you don't laugh. They talk faster when you slow down. They reveal more when you reveal less. They are trying to impress you because they feel beneath you, and the moment you validate them too easily, you kill the dynamic, you equalize the field, you flatten the power gap, you remove the chase. So here's what you do. When they brag, you nod. Once. Cold. When they name drop, you say nothing. Keep your eyes still. When they show off, you lean back. Watch. Study. Because silence doesn't just elevate your mystique, it forces them to reveal their insecurities. Every extra word they say is them digging a deeper hole. Let them. Machiavellian law says the man who speaks less controls more. The one being impressed owns the stage. You are not here to clap. You are here to command the rhythm of the room, with nothing but your presence. Now let me go even colder. When someone's trying to impress you, they're giving you data, their needs, their ego, their social status, all exposed. They want something from you: approval, inclusion, recognition, a seat at your table. And you give none of it. Not yet, not for free. You sit in silence and let them dig deeper. That's how kings extract truth without interrogation. Here's the razor's edge. When they want your attention, they perform. When they need your approval, they confess. And when you give them silence, they self-destruct or self-reveal. Both are wins. So stop reacting, stop clapping, stop smiling just to make them comfortable. Let them feel the void of your validation. Let your silence become the test they can't pass. Now, comment this below if you get it in your soul. I let them perform. I never applaud. Let me see who's mastered the discipline of stillness. They're unraveling in front of you, tears forming, voice trembling. They lean in and whisper the secret, the failure, the betrayal, the fear that's eating them alive. And you feel the urge to respond, to comfort, to relate, to say, "Hey man, I've been through the same." Don't. That moment right there, that's not vulnerability, that's leverage. Listen carefully. When someone reveals their weakness, they're giving you a loaded weapon, not out of trust, out of need. They want relief. They want connection. They want you to break character and say, "Me too." But you don't. You stay silent. You let the moment breathe. You let their words hang in the air like smoke, unanswered. Why? Because in that silence, something terrifying happens. They feel exposed. And the man who is exposed reveals even more. Most men, they rush to fill the gap. They offer advice. They say, "Don't worry, you're strong." They wrap weakness in words like a bandage. But you watch. You collect. You store the intel like a predator studying its prey. Because weakness, true weakness, is rare. And when it's shown to you even once, you've seen a side that others never will. Never underestimate that. Let me take you deeper. The one who reveals a weakness today can become your enemy tomorrow. And if that happens, your silence becomes a weapon. Their confession becomes your psychological shield. Because while they scream, you remember. While they plot, you hold the mirror. And they'll never know how much you know, because you never spoke. Here's what happens when you speak too soon. You validate their weakness, and they begin to resent you. You share your own weakness, and now they hold a weapon too. You become equals in a moment that should have elevated you above. This is not about cruelty. It's about calculated distance. You are not their therapist, you are not their priest, you are not their safety net. You are a strategist. And strategists observe. They document, they build libraries of human behavior. So when someone bleeds in front of you, let the blood flow. Don't bandage it. Don't touch it. Just memorize it. Because the man who knows others better than they know themselves becomes unstoppable. Machiavellian principle. It is not power that is spoken, it is power that is remembered in silence. And the moment someone shows you their fear, their guilt, their regret, and you stay silent, they start fearing your mind, not your reaction. They'll lie awake wondering, what did he think when I said that? Why didn't he respond? That psychological weight, it's heavier than any judgment you could have given. So next time someone opens up, you give them nothing. No stories, no reassurance, no confession. Just a presence so still it feels like they dropped their soul into a bottomless void. Now comment this below if you understand the art of the observer. I store weakness, I speak none. Let me see who's watching with surgical intent. You walk in, you scan the room, you already know how this ends. The flaws in their thinking, the gaps in their logic, the cracks in their egos. You know more than everyone here, and the rookie move? Saying it. Because the second you speak, the second you prove you're the smartest person in the room, you've already lost. You're not here to win debates, you're here to win control. And control isn't taken through knowledge, it's taken through psychological pressure. When you speak, they can measure you. When you stay quiet, they project. And projection is more powerful than proof. The man who knows and doesn't speak becomes myth. Here's why. When you say less, they think more about you. When you say nothing, they wonder what you're holding back. When you hold back long enough, they start to feel inferior without you saying a word. That's cold dominance. Let's be clear. Most people talk to signal intelligence, to flex, to get respect, to hear themselves sound sharp. But in doing so, they give away their advantage. They let others prepare. They let others adjust. You don't. You say nothing. You let them build weak arguments. You let them walk into the trap of their own certainty. And when the time is right, you say one sentence, one correction, one truth. And the room shifts. Because they weren't ready. They didn't see it coming. And now they're questioning everything they said before. That's power. Here's the principle. If they don't see your cards, they fear your hand. You don't need to show them how smart you are. You need to let them feel outclassed, without knowing why. And when they finally ask you what you think, that's when you drop the insight that ends the conversation. Not to impress, to conclude. You want to know how to control a room? Don't try to lead it. Just sit still and speak last. Let them reveal their egos. Let them perform their intellect. Let them argue, posture, talk in circles. You sit in silence like a loaded rifle on the table. They know you're dangerous. They just don't know how. That's more terrifying than any clever sentence you could say. The Machiavellian way is this: never interrupt your enemies when they are making a mistake. And most of the time, talking is the mistake. So let them expose their biases. Let them compete for dominance. While you own the one thing they can't touch: mystery. Let me tell you something real. If you know more than them, and you act like it, they will resist you. But if you know more than them and say nothing, they will start following you without knowing why, because silence commands subconscious respect. Now, I want to know who sees the long game. Comment this below. My silence rewires the room. Let the talkers talk. Let the loud ones burn out. You're building cold authority, line by line, silence by silence.